Good afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed that video of our great state of Utah. And earlier, the video we saw for Junior Achievement. We'd like to thank our friends at Junior Achievement for supplying the video about Junior Achievement City and for the fine young men and women who are involved with Junior Achievement, our future business leaders. At this time, I'd like to turn the time to Spencer Eccles, the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Join me in welcoming Spencer.
Well, welcome back. This is a great group, and we had a wonderful morning. For those of you that did not have the opportunity to listen to Larry Andrini over here on my right with Ride Makers, I suggest you look it up on the computer and see what they do. That he did an incredible job. And also, it's just great to be with Brent Lowe, our partners at Media One, who've for 7 years put on this event. We really appreciate it. Make this possible. We've got a number of sponsors, but I would be, again, I know some of you have heard this, but I really would be remiss if I didn't recognize my team at the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Sophia DeCaro, actually just all my GoEd team, please stand up. Please, wherever you are, okay? I'm looking for you. Okay, there you go. Great. Thank you very much. You know, Michael Sullivan's been putting this on from our office for the several years that it's gone on, and always does an incredible job. Sue Reddington, my assistant within GoEd, and then at Media One, Marie Bocat, and then Lynette Cloward also have done just phenomenal. And I think that this event gets better and better. And with that, it leads me into our sponsors. Each year we have people and companies step forward to support this. And for 7 years now, Zions Bank has been the presenting sponsor. And if you can all just join me in thanking Zions Bank for being our presenting sponsor, it'd be great. Thank you. I have a list of other sponsors. I'd like to go through those, and then we can, if you can hold your applause till the end, that would be great, and we'll continue forward. But American Express, CB Richard Ellis, Intermountain Healthcare, Interform, Merit Medical Systems, Questar, and then from the state, the STEP program that we have, and we've had great success there working with this grant program on the international side. Our summit sponsors, ATK, Ballard Spar, Cushman and Wakefield, Commerce, Deseret News, EDC Utah, our partners in recruiting, and they're doing a phenomenal job helping us. Edwards Life Sciences, our partners that are continuing to grow here, and then also the governor and some of our team will be down in California.
We are at the coolest place ever. It's called J.A. Biztown. It's Junior Achievement. It's pretty cool.
It's a really great experience. Every year we learn something new, and no 2 years are ever the same. Our goal is to prepare kids for the real world, and what this does is it gives kids a context for their education and the things we try to teach them. They kind of learn the aspects of a business on a 5th grade level, of course.
I'm the CEO of Zions Bank.
I'm being a DJ.
Kids.
Yeah.
My job is to be the CEO of J.A. Restaurant.
Air host for the J.A. TV station.
My job is United Way.
I'm the mayor of J.A. Biztown.
I'm the CEO of Rocky Mountain Power and Questar Gas.
I think that's what's great about this program, that they get to try out what it might be like to do some of these jobs.
I was thrilled when my daughter,
Your loan is approved.
came home and told us that she was doing J.A. Biztown, just because I know it's so beneficial to our kids, especially in this day and age. They need to learn about real life.
They declined us again.
I'm learning how to write checks and deposit slips and stuff like that, and that really helps you during your life.
We did a citizen guide and we learned a bunch of stuff in there, like about banks and all that.
They give us an entire curriculum for financial literacy, which is really great.
As a mom, I think we focus so much on our kids' academics and teaching them manners that we forget the big picture. We forget later in life.
Budgeting is a big proponent of everyday life. It shows us the big difference between wants and needs.
They start to see for the first time how important all of that is and how our society really works together and how they have to work together and solve real problems and solve things that grown-ups run into all the time.
I learned that not to procrastinate and that it's a hard job to do, but I like to do it.
There are town meetings that we have to go to. It's just fun to learn what grown-ups have to do every single day.
I was asking a lot of the kids, what did you like best about this? Because we get to be a grown-up for a change. And they really love that.
We're only going to be here for one day, so we should probably make it the best it can be.
It's just fantastic to see them all work together and want their business to succeed.
I haven't seen anything like this anywhere. This is amazing. It's so realistic. And you know, there's so much of learning and education that needs to be situated. You can sit kids in a classroom and say, one of these days you're going to have to balance a checkbook, or you're going to have a job, and where would you think about working? But unless it's in a real setting where they can envision what it will be, it's going to be a lot less meaningful to them.
One of the kids was like, I can't believe that I had to work through my break. Just the fact that they don't really understand it until they're there. We understand that, but this helps them understand why it is so important to participate in their education and become as prepared as possible.
A lot of them said, is this really what real life is about? And I said, you know, some aspect, yes it is. And a lot of them said, this is good, this is a lot of fun. And I said, good, keep that up, keep that thought of fun in there.
This is just a really amazing place, I think. Just like the setup, the buildings. I don't think anyone wouldn't have fun here.
It's an amazing program. It truly helps our world. It helps raise strong individuals.
It's a fabulous program. The kids love to come, and that's the kind of learning that sticks in students' minds. And when you ask them, you know, highlight of your 5th grade year, JBiz Town is almost always the answer.
California today, visiting with their company as we continue to recruit and put our best foot forward. The enterprise, I Am Flash Technologies, Keystone Aviation, KUER, Landesk Software, Parsons Bailey and Latimer, Rio Tinto, Rocky Mountain Power, the Salt Lake Tribune, Utah Department of Workforce Services, who help us recruit also, Workers' Compensation Fund, and Vivint. Please join me in thanking our sponsors. And they have a number of tables set up outside. Please go talk to them and learn a little bit about what they're doing. These are great Utah companies. Now it's my opportunity to introduce the head table, but before I do, I want to make a couple of special recognitions. We have with us also our Governor's Office of Economic Development Board Chair, and Mel Lavitt, if you could stand up, and then also, where is Jerry Oldroyd, our Incentives Committee? Jerry? Thank you. Appreciate that. They provide countless hours, and I do mean hours, and I told Jerry and I told Mel that they would get a 300% pay increase if they would just come to lunch, and I'm glad. Check's in the mail. That's a joke. We'll have to get a new writer. But in all seriousness, I'd like to recognize 3 individuals at this lunch right now, and I'll go through those. Governor Gary R. Herbert, sitting to my left, has done a tremendous job of leading out. This morning we had great economic information about the state. We're grateful for the governor, his leadership on education, and his leadership in many other arenas. Lieutenant Governor Bell to my right, and just, you couldn't hope to have a better partner in the state in terms of working with the legislature, and really just when I watch the governor and the lieutenant governor work together, I have to tell you, we have an incredible team, and we feel blessed to be able to work with them. And then Scott Anderson with Zions Bank on my left, our longstanding sponsor, as I mentioned earlier, of this summit for 7 years. And it'd be great if you could give him a round of applause. Thank you. Now I'm going to go through the head table. I'll start on my left, your right. And if you hold your applause till we get through both sides, then that would probably be helpful. Governor Gary R. Herbert on my left, Scott Anderson with Zions Bank, Fred Lampropoulos with our good friends at Merit Medical, and Stefan Drank with DPS Ski. He's representing the companies that kind of work with the STEP program. Ray Butcher with Questar, Scott Gotteridge at American Express, Sophia DeCaro, my deputy director, also my chief operating officer, and then, of course, Brent Lowe, the president of Media One. And on my right, Lieutenant Governor Greg Bell, my good friend and supporter, Derek Miller, the governor's chief of staff, Larry Andrini, our keynote this morning, and with Ride Makers, and Mark Bouchard with CBRE, Richard Ellis, but also really a driving force behind Prosperity 2020, a very important group. And then Steve Daly with Landa Software, Doug Hammer representing Intermountain Healthcare, and Rich Lunsford with Edwards Life Science. So with that, please welcome our head table, and I appreciate that. Now, I know we also have many dignitaries in the audience. We have members of the Senate and the legislature in the House. Senator Niederhauser, our Senate president, is here. I don't know where he's sitting, but if he's around, he's not standing up. He's probably hiding. But anyway, we'll come back and just welcome everybody. But we also have mayors and civic leaders from across the state, and then our breakout session presenters, and of course you, our attendees. It's a very important group. I think that we're going to continue to trade important information throughout the day and network, so I hope it's working for you. We know that each of you have business needs, and here in the Governor's Office of Economic Development, partnering with each of you, we are able to move this state forward. Please remember, we have another hour of breakout sessions following the lunch, and then our very own popular networking reception with our Utah Zone. You saw there is a brochure on Utah Zone, our representing all the food products that are made in the state. Please stay for that networking. This is a great service that our Utah Zone group puts together, and it's a real opportunity to see what we produce in the state from the agricultural side of things, as well as having an opportunity to interact with one another and see also our food entrepreneurs. And then we, of course, hope you stay for both sessions. So with that, I now turn the time over to Mr. Scott Anderson.
Well, I am really happy to be here today, and I have the honor of introducing the governor. I wanted to start out by holding up this card, and I know all of the governor's staff has it, and many of you have it, but it gives the governor's economic plan for the state. And I think as you go over the card, and then as you think of the things that have been accomplished by the governor, you realize that what Steve Forbes called him is true, the greatest governor of the greatest state in the country. But the governor wants Utah to excel in job creation, innovation, entrepreneurship, global business, and a quality workforce. He also wants Utah to have a stable and sustainable business-friendly environment. So jobs, education, sustainable energy sources, a good environment, innovation, all of these are key elements to the Governor Herbert's plan for Utah. The miracle is that the governor has delivered on these promises. He has orchestrated the rebirth of the state after the recession to what is considered as the best state for business in the country, according to Forbes magazine. And this is the third year that Forbes has called Utah the best state for business. That means that Utah has a firm foundation, a solid foundation, to strengthen and grow existing businesses, both in the rural areas and in the urban areas, to increase innovation, entrepreneurship, and investment, to increase national and international business, and to prioritize education to develop the workforce that we need. But this is what we expect of Governor Herbert, because, as you may know, Governor Herbert comes from good American stock, tracing his roots back to one of America's most influential founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Long before Gary was governor, it was clear that he was destined for greatness. As a descendant of Benjamin Franklin, young Gary shared our founding fathers' belief in the practical values of thrift, hard work, and education. As a descendant of another famous American, Butch Cassidy, Gary acquired a portion of his toughness and his grit, along with his skills of negotiation, from perhaps this relative. Now, this is a picture of Butch Cassidy, but look at the eyes, and then notice the eyes in this poster that was found in the state archives of our governor. You can see a real family resemblance. Now, Governor Herbert is a man of dedicated patriotism and service to our country, having served for 6 years as Staff Sergeant in the Utah National Guard, working with target acquisitions, artillery, and ground survey. The governor is also a born competitor. Now, you may not know this, but he was captain of the Orem High School baseball team, where he played both the pitcher and the third baseman. He was also quarterback of the football team, and he was point guard and captain of the basketball team. The governor started playing tennis at 28, and at age 36, he was ranked #1 in Utah in the 35 up open division category. And the governor has kept up his athleticism today. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, he exhibited his keen competitive nature when he invited the #1 nationally ranked high school football team in the country, Lone Peak High School, to the Capitol to honor them. They had just won the state championship, and their record was 26-1. Well, the governor challenged them to a game of horse, and the governor drained 8 shots in a row and won the game. And the Lone Peak High School head coach, Quincy Lewis, said that this was their second loss of the season, and they couldn't think of a better team to lose to. Governor Herbert is also a family man with a terrific family that he and the First Lady has raised. He's also a man of the people. It's interesting to see that he has visited every county throughout Utah multiple times, and this gives him a real sense of what the issues are. Meeting one-on-one with residents, he does understand the challenges that the people of Utah face and the unique problems they have in each of our counties. He meets with groups to get their opinions. He meets with family to learn what it's like to sustain a family in this environment. He dines with locals to get the local feel and input. And he encourages the leaders of tomorrow to stay the course and step up. He collaborates on deploying our vital resources to ensure that we are getting the most out of them. And he takes time to serve those in need, stepping up as he has encouraged all of us to do our share in helping those who are less fortunate. And the governor even has meetings with those inclined to be opposed to his point of view, and he listens carefully, and he's appreciative of their comments. But the proof of his leadership and the proof of his administration lies in the results that we have seen. As you see in this chart, Utah is the second fastest growing economy in the country, beat out by North Dakota, which is an oil state. And the state's unemployment rate consistently outperforms the national average. Today, Utah's unemployment rate stands 2.5 percentage points below the national average. This is a remarkable feat. And the effectiveness of his leadership, again, is shown by the recognition that the state has received. the best state for business, economic power, the pro-business states, the best state to emerge from the recession, the best managed state in Utah, and the top state for volunteerism. And I think this is a remarkable chart, and perhaps some of you have seen it, but last week, the Kauffman Foundation released its 2013 survey of the best states and best cities in the country for small business. And Utah won this contest as the #1 state for small business with an average scorecard of A+. Now, I think that is remarkable, and if you look at this scorecard, you'll notice there are only a couple of B's on it. And you'd think that with an A+ average, you'd feel pretty good and you'd rest, but the governor isn't. And as you know, in this legislative session, he's pushed education, STEM, funding for the U Medical Center, U-Star, and energy development so that we could ensure that we have a quality workforce, that we have enough employees to staff the needs of those companies who come here to do business. And I think the crowning comment is the comment that was in the Wall Street Journal that said, Utah is the brightest star on the American flag. And in front of you, you have a chocolate star with the comment that the governor does make Utah the brightest star on the flag. And I think we owe him a round of applause for this. So it is my great honor and privilege to introduce a man from good American stock, a man of dedicated patriotism and service to country, a true competitor, and a man of the people, Utah's 17th governor, Gary Herbert.
Hello, I'm Governor Gary Herbert. I want to welcome you to the 2013 Utah Economic Summit. As you can probably tell, I was created with 3D computer rendering technology. This technology comes from DAZ 3D, a market leader in digital art and animation. Though they are based right here in Salt Lake City, DAZ is reaching customers across the globe. In fact, 50% of their sales come from outside the United States. This is what the future economy looks like. Now, I'm not saying we'll all have 3D avatars running around, but career fields involving science, technology, engineering, and math are growing. And companies like DAZ 3D are on the cutting edge of that growth. As I look out in the crowd, I'm confident that the future of Utah is bright. For the third straight year, Forbes ranked Utah #1 as the best place for business. Utah has become a national role model for success. The unemployment rate is, Gary, help me out. Haven't received the download because the numbers keep dropping. Well, I know they're getting better and better. Okay, now that the accolade speech is done, I give to you the greatest, most intelligent governor. He made me say that. The one who gives me my handsome good looks. He made me say that too. And will keep you on the edge of your seat for the next 29 minutes. Please welcome the very real flesh and blood Governor Gary Herbert.
Two introductions. That's amazing. Well, listen, I look pretty good in 3D, and it's too bad I can't have more of that. I can't send an avatar to all of my many meetings. I think it'd be a good thing to be able to do. Just think how much more golf I could play. I might be able to get as much golf in as President Obama. I know. I have to say it is quite a sight to see all of you here today. Utah's economy is full of dedicated entrepreneurs and passionate innovators whose efforts contribute to a strong state economy. I am proud to serve as governor of a state that recognizes that the best opportunities come from a thriving private sector operating in a free market. It is no secret we live in a rapidly changing world. In 2003, one of the top inventions of the year, according to Time magazine, was the iTunes music store. Today, it's hard for us to even imagine leaving home without your smartphone, a device that has access to virtually every song, every book, every movie, or every piece of information in the world. And you can access it in just seconds. The technology economy is racing ahead faster than ever before. Some examples of fields that are moving especially fast are digital art and animation, game development, and even apps for our phones. It's easier than ever to create innovative products that advance our economy. Games for smartphones or social media sites are being developed by small, flexible teams. These teams are comprised of highly skilled and educated individuals driven by their passion to create something useful and something unique. This passion and spirit of collaboration is something that makes Utah stand out as a tech hub. Combine that with our high quality of life, and it is no wonder that so many technology firms look to Utah as an alternative to Silicon Valley. This region is, in fact, rapidly becoming known in more and more circles as the Silicon Slopes, an up-and-coming version of Silicon Valley, but with better skiing. Stefan appreciates that. The high-tech world is perpetually stunned by the amount of talent coming out of these slopes, talent that is produced at Utah's tech businesses and Utah's universities. At a recent digital media event in Salt Lake City, Utah was touted as the place for cutting-edge digital media. Jeff Bunker, who will present to you later today, works for Avalanche Software, a Utah-based gaming software developer recently acquired by Disney. He commented that he wouldn't dream of growing his business anywhere else. Jeff said Utah's universities produce top-tier talent, and that is a strategic advantage for companies like Avalanche. From the virtual reality we create with companies like Daz 3D and Avalanche Software, to the way our brains process our world, digital media is finding ways to push the envelope of what is possible. In Utah's life sciences industry cluster, BlackRock Microsystems is one of many thriving bioengineering companies. BlackRock is developing groundbreaking technology called Seraplex. Seraplex has the potential to give new life to people suffering from crippling brain injuries. Recently profiled on 60 Minutes, this innovative technology allows neurologists to monitor and detect things like seizures and other brain injuries. This capability is leading to advances in neurosurgery, prosthetics controlled by the brain, and technologies that will ultimately save lives of battlefield injured soldiers and others who sustain major brain injuries. This technology has potential far beyond the battlefield. It can help researchers better understand and treat a variety of mental disorders and diseases. Developments in the digital world continue to accelerate and never cease to astound. But that is only one area where Utah's economy excels. Recently, I attended the first anniversary of the City Creek Center. This event celebrated much more than just the anniversary of a shopping center. We celebrated a tangible and monumental investment in Utah's economy. The stores and restaurants that call City Creek home wouldn't be here if they didn't think Utah was a good investment. Our global recognition as a premier business destination, combined with investments from projects like City Creek, continue to make Utah the best state for business and careers. But it is important to note, these advances in our economy don't just happen. They require the right environment in which they can originate and grow. And in Utah, we do everything we can to foster a fertile field for that development and for that growth. One way we do that is by keeping the government in check, by recognizing the proper and appropriate role of government. A prime example of this is Utah state government. It is smaller today than it was in 2001, even though the state has added more than 500,000 new residents in the past 12 years. Unlike what we see at the federal level, we do not believe Utahns benefit from growing the size of government. In fact, we are continuously finding ways to be more efficient. After all, that's what people do in the private sector every day. You find ways to deliver a better product or service at a lower cost and with a little more efficient process. You must be competitive to survive. That is one of the great blessings that comes of a free, competitive market. In government, we must push ourselves to be innovative. I believe that in Utah, we've done a pretty good job of that. Our goal is to reduce the burden to the private sector, both in taxes and regulation, and increase efficiency in the government sector to get a better bang for the taxpayer's dollar. There are two initiatives that I mentioned in my State of the State address that will help us in this effort. The first is our goal to increase government efficiency by 25% over the next 4 years. The second is to eliminate or modify unnecessary and burdensome regulations. We've already done regulatory reform on the state level. We are now addressing this at the local level by embarking now on a pilot program with mayors of Provo, Ogden, Cedar City, and South Jordan to develop a standardized process in order to review regulations. This pilot program is designed to facilitate an improved regulatory climate at the local level and is something we hope to roll out later to cities throughout Utah. This focus on efficient government and strong economies has yielded accolade after accolade to our state. It has also provided Utah with growing tax revenues that comes not from raising taxes, but from economic expansion. By growing the economy, we are once again able to fund the programs that are important to our people, programs that are vital to meet the needs of our growing state. My top budget priority, as you know, is and has always been education. I recently saw firsthand what education can do for our future workforce at a regional robotics competition put on by a group called For Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology, also known as FIRST. This event brought together high school students from across the nation to compete in a series of events involving robots. By the way, of the 44 teams participating, I'm proud to mention that half of them were from Utah. To me, this competition represents more than just an exhibition of skill and commitment. It shows what our students can do with the proper motivation and the right amount of imagination. American philosopher John Dewey once said, "Every great advancement in science has issued from a new audacity of imagination." The students in this competition had to imagine their robots' capabilities before building them. And now I want you to imagine what these young scientists are capable of with the right education. What is their potential as they enter the workforce? Today's students are tomorrow's innovators. A student trying to memorize his multiplication tables in one of our schools today could be the next Bill Gates, or Steve Jobs, or David Evans, or James Sorensen, or Alan Ashton, or John Warwick, or Josh James, or Fred Lampropoulos, or Larry Andrini. And the list goes on. It could be like you, which is what we want, more people like you. This first competition fosters the kind of aptitude and passion we want to celebrate in more students, both in Utah and across the nation. Because these are the traits that will set them apart as they enter the workforce. Tomorrow's workforce must be smarter, more innovative, and more skilled than ever before. Our education programs, like the STEM programs that the state of Utah is funding with our recently approved budget, give students the foundation they need to succeed. And events like the first robotics competition give them the vision and the passion to continue in their STEM education. In a meaningful way, Utah's clear focus on STEM will contribute to achieving our goal that is 66% of our adult population will have a college degree or certificate by the year 2020. This goal is imperative for our state's long-term sustained economic health and success. I think it is important to point out that in our recent legislative session just completed, our lawmakers appropriated more than $300 million in new education money. That's $300 million to teach today's students who will become tomorrow's innovators and leaders. Now, I don't know if we have legislators here. I think we have some. If you're here, would you please just stand up? We got some here. I know we had some earlier this morning. Please stand up. Give them a round of applause. They understand the importance of education. They're putting the money where it needs to be. They're prioritizing correctly. We thank them. Now, I also want to explicitly thank each of you. You represent Utah's business community and Utah's taxpayers. Truly, it is your hard work in the private sector that grew the economy, created jobs for Utah's families, and created the tax revenue to invest in Utah's school children. Thanks to the leaders in this room, Utah stands out as a national and a global model for success. As we look to the future and as we set goals, it is important to realize that success in achieving those goals is a journey, one fraught with obstacles that must be overcome and lessons that must be learned. The greatest leaps in mankind's achievement often have come after tripping over unforeseen stumbling blocks, discovering a problem that needed a solution. How we learn from our experiences and strive, Larry told us about striving this morning, for continuous improvement, that defines us as a people. Just as our pioneers of ages past had to break a few wagon wheels to cross the plains and to settle this great state, today's innovators continue to expand the frontier of science and technology, breaking a few wheels along the way. This same pioneer spirit can be found in Boeing and Boeing's Utah employees. Many of you listened this morning to John Tracy, the Chief Technology Officer from Boeing, who spoke about today's high-tech manufacturing. Boeing employees in Salt Lake have earned the nickname the Can-Do Crew because they're always willing to take on new projects and adjust their facility and operations as are needed. Utah is indeed proud to be a significant growing force in this new age of aviation and aerospace. As governor, I couldn't be more pleased when Boeing selected West Jordan as its newest manufacturing location. They've opened an 850,000 square foot high-tech manufacturing plant that will initially build a horizontal stabilizer for the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Everyone knows that my top priority is economic growth and job creation for all of Utahns. And great companies like Boeing and many others that are represented here today go out and compete in the marketplace, creating those jobs. And for that, I thank you, and the people of Utah thank you. The principle of determination in the face of risk is what makes our economy strong. And thanks to this strength of the free market system, most historians agree that the 20th century was the American century. But concerns loom on the horizon. Some have even floated the idea, the notion, that the 21st century is likely to be the Chinese century. Regarding this idea, let me share a conversation I had with a group of Chinese delegates recently while I was visiting Beijing on a trade mission. As we sat and as we talked with leading Chinese government officials, they were very complimentary about Utah. They recognized that Utah and acknowledged that it was leading America out of the Great Recession. One high-ranking Chinese official said that we notice Utah, we like Utah, we would like to be like Utah. But he said, in kind of a more humble approach, he says, it will probably take us 100 years to catch you. But then he said, with a little bit of a twinkle in his eye, as he threw down the gauntlet, he said, but we will catch you. Few states have won such envious praise from the Chinese. Few countries, for that matter. But this compliment is also a challenge, a wake-up call, because we need to remember that we all live and work in what is now a global economy. This is the age of a worldwide economy. China has 1.3 billion people, and they all want your jobs. The competition is heating up, and the challenge is real. But let me assure you, Utah is up to the challenge. And it's thanks to risk takers like Boeing, Adobe, IM Flash, Edwards Life Sciences, Merit Medical, small businesses like Rockwell Time, Minnie's Cupcakes, and Medica, and many, many others that you represent here today, that makes our economy what it is today and allows us to measure up to that kind of a challenge. We can not only compete in a global marketplace, but we will compete and we will win. Utah stands out as an island of tranquility in a sea of turmoil. Our national economy is facing uncertainty that continues to cause anxiety for business and citizens in every state. So a vital part of our mission in the coming months and years is to tell our story and invite people to come to Utah, whether to relocate a business or to simply visit our beautiful state. As part of this effort, I have challenged Vicki Varela, our new Director of Tourism, Film, and Global Branding, to take Utah's marketing strategy to the next level. Having been on the job for just a few months now, Vicki is diligently focused on developing an integrated global brand for our state. We want people to know that this is the best place in the world to work, to play, to raise a family. Tourism contributes enormously to our state economy. Most recently, $6.9 billion economy just this last year. And we're pleased to share Utah with over 22 million visitors each year. This year's tourism campaign focuses on our 5 national parks, or as we call it, the Mighty 5. In fact, our Utah Office of Tourism has produced a video that showcases the beauty of our 5 national parks that will soon air in select states throughout the country. If you haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure you haven't, you're in luck. We have it here today, so let's roll the tape.
Picture this, your next trip, Utah, 5 national parks. First, Zion. You're walking, the ground rises, the ground drops, the ground becomes water. Next, Bryce. You're riding a mule. You're riding a mule under giant orange strip castles. You are not dreaming. You will not forget this. On to Capitol Reef. Take the scenic route, the really scenic route. Take a path you've never taken and see the stars for the first time. Now for Canyonlands. You're riding a bike. You're riding a bike on Mars. Now you're riding the rapids. Class 2, Class 3, Class 4, Classic. Arches, 5:32 a.m. Some things are worth racing the sunrise for. The horizon lightens. You round the corner. Whoa. This is life elevated. The Mighty 5. 5 iconic parks, 1 epic experience. Plan your trip at visitutah.com.
What do you think? We have a beautiful state, and we're going to showcase that in more ways than we've ever done in the past and to help improve our tourism. But it has a connection to we in the business community. The ripple effect will happen. Thanks to some concerted efforts by the Utah Office of Tourism and our Utah Film Commission, the breathtaking vistas throughout Utah's parks are getting more and more attention. To me, this campaign is much more than simply trying to attract more tourists. This campaign is one part of a broader message, one that we're sending to the nation and the world, that Utah is the place for beauty and adventure, the place for unparalleled quality of life, and the place for business and economic opportunity. Or to quote Brigham Young, the first governor, it is the right place, and I would add the right place for business. We tell this story as part of our aggressive recruitment efforts, and it often yields remarkable results. One great example is Edwards Life Sciences, based out of Irvine, California. We're pleased and honored that Rich Lunsford, down at the end of the table here, from Edwards, is sitting on the stage with us today. Many of you may know a little of the Edwards story, but I'd like to share some of it with you as an example of what we are doing well in Utah to help grow our economy. Until just a few years ago, Edwards had a medical device facility in Utah with just a couple hundred employees. They began looking at their future options, which included either expanding in Utah or relocating out of state. As we worked with the Edwards people, they came to realize that the best place to enhance their profitability and to grow their company would be to stay right here in Utah. They soon identified a location in Draper that would work for their future plans, and as a result, the future is bright, both for Edwards and for Utah. Now, I'm pleased to tell you that recently I toured the Draper facility, and they are rapidly growing to more than 1,000 employees. And I look forward to taking the plane. I'm going to leave here and catch the plane at the airport and fly to Irvine, California, at their California headquarters and discuss opportunities for additional growth at their Utah campus. It's as terrific as Edward's story is, it's not unique. Many companies are finding that when it comes to expanding their business and boosting their bottom line, Utah is the right place. Whether it is digital technology or life sciences, aerospace, or outdoor products, Utah is an emerging leader for growth and innovation in every one of our economic sectors. We are home to mountains and canyons that simply take your breath away. We are the home to some of the greatest advancements in digital media, where the same technology that entertains our brains will also be used to repair them. Again and again, we come back to the central question of why. Why does Utah garner such success in business and receive such accolades from national and international media? Why do leaders of world power such as China look to Utah as an example of the best that the United States has to offer? Just why does Utah play the economic development game so well? It's not only our reasonable tax system, although that's an important part of it. It's not just our great regulatory environment, although that's an important part of it too. But what really seals the deal, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, is Utah's people. Our business leaders, our entrepreneurs, our innovators, our citizens, who do as much or more for the success of our economy than any other factor we can imagine. And for that, I'm grateful to live in this great state, and I thank you for your contribution to that effort. Thank you for finding ways to innovate. Thank you for taking the risk to grow. Thank you for your contributions to the economic success and high quality of life we have in Utah that's becoming the envy of the world. And let's also not forget about our children. You know, in the end, it really does come down to the future of our children. Just like the bright and bright-eyed youth we saw in that video in the beginning from the junior achievement video that you saw just before we came on stage here. Today's J.A. City mayor, that young person may be tomorrow's governor, banker, lawyer, teacher, or today's J.A. City business owner, may be tomorrow's thriving entrepreneur, businessman, or businesswoman. They are our future. They are Utah's future. They embody the promise of a brighter tomorrow. And they are depending upon us to show them the way and provide them with that opportunity to ensure that their future and the future of this state is brimming with even more promise and even more possibility. Now, before I go, I'd like to leave you with one final request. For next year's Economic Summit, let's us push the envelope for technology even more. Today, we began my speech with Daz's 3D avatar. Who knows what we'll see next year? I'm hoping for a clone. The sky's the limit, but whatever it looks like, I expect the next great advancement in technology to happen right here in Utah. So let's get after it. We have work to do. Thank you for all you do to make Utah the best place in America to live, to raise a family, and to do business. Thank you very much.
Well, as you can see, the future's bright for the state of Utah, and Governor, we're very grateful for your leadership, and thank you for taking some time to be here all morning. And I would just like to note here, the governor is going to excuse himself here in just a couple of minutes. He's got to catch a plane to California because we're bringing more companies back here with us. That was kind of a joke, but I was more serious than joking. But anyway, first of all, thank you again for being here. The governor has summed it up quite apropos. Our Our mission is very clear. You've seen the green card. If you don't have one, we'll be sure to get you one. It tells you about our mission, our vision, and our 4 objectives that support that. And just know how grateful we are to our sponsors and to each of you for taking time out of your very busy schedules. We believe that it's a productive use of your time. And with that, I'd like to finally thank the Grand America and their wonderful staff and this wonderful meal. And if you could just join me, I think they deserve that. Thank you. Now enjoy your dessert and the rest of your meal, and enjoy your dessert. At about 1:45, you'll probably want to start finding your way to some of the breakout sessions. And then please remember again the Utah Zone reception that starts around 3 o'clock today. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day, and good luck in your business.